Hello, Innovation by Design. This is the video for the week 5 slides. So, as mentioned earlier in the course, and you can check the syllabus on this at the last page where we have the course schedule. We started with, we did empathy, we did define, then we did ideation, and in our ideation assignment, we took that problem that we worked on in empathy and define, and we came up with 50 different service solutions, 50 different software solutions, and 50 different physical product solutions. So we are now beginning our software module. This is where we will now be testing a solution, a software-based solution to the problem that we originally started with. Now, you are welcome to pivot if that's what you feel like that the data from your first round of testing with the service MVP is leading you towards. So feel welcome to pivot if you'd like to. Ideally, though, you would be now focused on solving the same problem that you started with, but now through the lens of solving it with a software MVP. That is the idea. And now here's the thing. You might be in a situation where you're working on your own venture and you're like, well, my own venture is a service, or potentially my own venture is a physical product, or any one of the others. So the idea here is that iron sharpens iron. So being able to basically test a solution, a software-based solution to something that would otherwise be solved through a service, might just be the way that you're able to actually provide that service to a much greater amount of people. You might discover something here that might be really, really interesting and might be potentially a new, more lucrative business. Or in similar for a physical product, maybe it might be a situation where I don't see how I could possibly solve this without a physical product. Well, testing with a software might just unlock like a possibility that might be able to do it. You might be able to solve the problem and generate a lot of revenue from the same target customer set with a software MVP or with a software that might take a little bit less to actually develop. So all of that to say, it's about, you might end up with just like one insight or two insights towards your bigger like venture idea. But the idea is that one or two insights might just be gold, right? So often when it is like we ask an AI for like, here, give us like 50 suggestions or give us 100 suggestions, most of them are terrible, right? But there might just be that one. All right, most of them are either terrible or just like maybe not worth a lot, where you might just find one, like the diamond in the rough, that's the thing that changed everything. Okay, so again, just like in any course in entrepreneurship, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out. So this is the time to really dig in under with the idea of a software. Okay, if you have any questions about that, of course, reach out to me. I'm here and happy to help. Okay, so now again, keep in the back of your head as we go through this your problem that it is that you were solving with the service. Now we're going to go into solving that problem with the software. Okay, so what is the software going to be? This class has never been, it gets better every semester, where we have all these really amazing empowerment tools that are able to help us to actually be able to develop these things. So inside of the assignments this week, I'm going to be sharing links to all the different platforms that we can use to develop these apps. It used to be that we would do really simple, like hand-drawn, like wireframes they would really take forever, and we really wouldn't get any value out of them. Now we just punch into an AI, build this, make it look this way, or maybe you even draw by hand like a drawing, and you can actually just add that image and have it like follow the design that you started with, like in your head. So pretty cool. We're going to develop apps, software application. You can say website versus web app. A website, you can think of it as a website is it's a landing page. It either directs us somewhere. E-commerce is kind of questionable. Like e-commerce could be a web app or a website, but a web app is something that's much more, it actually does like a function, like functionality. It's not so much design based like a website. It's much more functional. So the idea here is that Netflix, for example, is a web app. Okay. All of those like streaming services are web apps. QuickBooks is a web app. Okay. Let's see, Canva, which we're using now to make these presentations, is a web app. Fitbit is a web app. So this kind of categories, think of things that you actually are doing and getting done and functionality. And when I say that too, when I started to go to Fitbit and QuickBooks and Netflix, most, if not all, of your mobile apps are indeed web apps. A web app is just a matter of, in many cases, a web app is actually accessed through the mobile app. It could be accessed through the mobile app, the Apple Store, or Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, a desktop URL, a mobile URL. All of these places, all of these devices or search engines are all basically you're accessing the same thing. You're accessing that same web app, which is actually very, very new. It's like less than kind of 10 years old of doing it this way. It's kind of groundbreaking and really exciting. And anybody who is like maybe currently like a coder or in that kind of space knows how exciting this is, where it used to be like, when you go onto the App Store and you see like, oh, update 1.0.1, update 1.0.2, and so forth, and you see like 1,000 of them. It used to be that app developers needed to go through App Store review each time they wanted to push through an update. Now all we have to do is click one button: publish, republish, deploy, redeploy, and it's updated no matter where they're accessing us, on the mobile, the desktop, the app stores. It's all updated, which is really kind of revolutionary. It makes us the masters of iteration, so that now we can put an app out there, put a software out there, and continually iterate, continually optimize it based on the feedback from real users, which, if you can tell from what we did with the service, and you can tell probably what you've done in plenty of other entrepreneurship courses, is all about being flexible, dynamic, adaptable, being able to iterate alongside feedback from real people. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Okay. UX, UI. This is the analogy I like to use for this. Is pretty great. I didn't come up with this. Is Irene Pereira. If you end up really loving this course, or this section rather of this course, I recommend taking Rapid Software Prototypes. This is a course where we're just going to use these tools and we're just going to be making apps the entire semester. It's really fun. I've had students take that class, and before the end of the semester, like, we do beta testing, of course, and before the end of the semester, they were like actually like making thousands of dollars by selling their apps to selling subscriptions to their apps, that is, all in the course of just a few weeks. I've also seen students in that same class go from idea to App Store in like less than 2 weeks. All these things are very, very new and very exciting. So that class in the fall is actually on Fridays at 1:30. So if you have a free slot Fridays at 1:30, take that with me. Again, it's called Rapid Software Prototypes. Anyway, one of the kind of stories or analogies that we use here is this. First of all, it's like user experience and user interface. Okay, so the user experience is like the architect who's developing. Let's say we're in New York and we're building a new skyscraper. You're going to hire an architect, and they're going to come and they're going to be like, okay, it's going to be this many floors. Is the height of each floor is going to be this. People are going to walk in through a main entrance here. In the back, we'll have an elevator. The elevators will be here. The height of the elevators will be like this. The windows will be over here. They do the kind of the experience, right? Where people are going to walk through. I'm going to walk in here, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to walk over here. That's the experience. The interface is the interior designer who comes in after, and they're like, okay, it's going to be this kind of chandelier. We're going to paint the walls this color. We're going to use this kind of material on the floor. And in the app, the color, the typography, the imagery is the UI, right? Whereas the UX is the overall experience. Another really good example, which is more, now we're actually in the ballpark of apps, is this. Like Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram and Facebook have a nearly identical user experience. People do very much the same thing on each app. They flow very much the same way. You have your feed, your reels, your notifications, your profile, essentially. And Instagram is they're both the same, right, in terms of those, Facebook and Instagram. What's different is the UI. So if you have both of those apps, go on Facebook and notice that each icon is labeled on Facebook. They assume that the user has not necessarily used a social media app before. Whereas in Instagram, there is no labels on any of the buttons. There's an assumption that this is not the first social media app that you've used, and you're familiar or able to more quickly become familiar with how the processes of the app. So really interesting on that one, being able to look at both those. There's a few other differences that are pretty interesting. Like I would say really quick, for example, if you try to load both of those apps at the same time, Facebook will surprisingly actually open quicker than Instagram will. Depends on maybe if you haven't used it in a long time, but if you regularly use both apps, Facebook will open quicker. Why? Is because you're actually loading one page at a time. Instagram loads every page, and it's just a matter of when you go from Reels to notifications to profile. It's actually about being everything is visible versus invisible, which this is basically everything loads so the first time, so it's a little bit longer on app like load, but once it's loaded, everything's much faster. These are some of the new updates. See, as they do. And Facebook is still a little bit old school. So when I go from like Reels to notifications on Facebook, it takes just a fraction of a second longer because I'm actually loading a new page. Okay, that is some more stuff that we talk about in rapid software prototypes, which is not necessarily important for right now. The more important thing is the idea of the difference between UX and UI. Okay, all right. MVP a la carte. So did I skip something? No. MVP a la carte. So just like what we did before, what is the prototype going to be? In this case, our software MVP. We're going to actually have a live link for that. What is our distribution channel? In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to make another landing page. So your prototype is going to not necessarily be actually the landing page. Your prototype is going to be the actual software, right? Your distribution is going to be the website, and your feedback will be like a Google form, something very kind of similar to that. In the assignment walkthrough video, I'll share like an example of what this could look like, where essentially what I want to be able to see is that I go to a website, like a landing page, I click the Get the App button, it takes me to the prototype, and then somewhere inside of the prototype is a button that's like Provide Feedback and takes us to the feedback form. Okay, so you can see that actual kind of flow. Okay. You can read these later. This is basically what I just said. These slides are available in Canvas in the resources. Paper prototype, this is what we used to do. We're not doing that anymore. High fidelity means that it's actually usable, testable. Takes a little bit longer to make, but not anymore. Now it takes just a few minutes. Earlier today, I made one in 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes, and it's ready to click and use and show to people. Okay, whiteboard wireframe. You know what we used to do is we used to have everyone draw like on the white, or in class, still like in the person class, what we'll sometimes do is everyone will actually draw, like hand draw what their idea is, and then we'll just take a picture of it and then immediately give it to an AI tool and have it build the app that we just like drew on the board, which is pretty cool. Okay, there's this video. This video is available in the resources as well. Canva prototype. You might end up making a Canva prototype. It takes a little bit longer, so I kind of recommend using a tool called Lovable. That's going to allow you to be able to get the free link pretty quick. But anyway, Canva prototype. The best tool is Replit. That's part of the requirements to do the online class, or excuse me, the Replit, the Rapid Software Prototypes class. We use Replit for that. And that costs, like, with your .edu email, it's either $5 or $10 a month, like nothing, but good. When you're actually doing your feedback mechanism, you might consider some of these types of questions, testing. So basically this week, we're going to end up making our prototype pretty quick. It shouldn't take too long. And then we're going to actually go out and try to get at least 5 people to try it out, or we're going to post our links in some social groups, one of the two. The better option is to actually go out and probably get some real people who testing it like right there while you're there. Maybe give them again a QR code, kind of like we did last time. But that's a good way of doing it. Collect feedback from real people. If you can't, you want to avoid family, friends, or roommates, unless maybe it is that they fall directly into the target customer. The problem is that they're going to be biased because they want to be nice. And then this is the assignment. There will, of course, be the assignment walkthrough video for it, so I'm not going to talk about it now. We got some additional video resources here. You can watch these. These are pretty cool. This is the Dropbox one I talked about before. Pretty interesting MVP. This is another thing about making mock-ups in Canva. Paper prototypes, testing. This is an interesting video. We'll watch it later. This is more of a product video and how to prototype and test solutions. So all of these resources are here and available to you. I am here and happy to help, and I hope you made it through this whole video, and this should be fun. This is, it's sort of my favorite section of the course. I've worked in this space quite a bit, so I'm excited to see what you guys build. Okay, all right. Reach out if you have any questions. Best, bye.